Welcome to a special festive episode of Sistory History. Yo Saturnalia! Saturnalia was an ancient Roman festival celebrated in mid-December near the winter solstice. As with most Roman festivals, it honoured a deity, and the god in charge here was Saturn, presiding over time, agriculture, renewal, abundance, and wealth, but also dissolution. More on that later. If you were asked to describe it in a few words, citywide megaparty would be pretty accurate. And although you'll spot some similarities to our modern Christmas celebrations, Saturnalia involved significantly more gambling and sacrifices. It was so much fun that the original one day of festivities just wasn't enough, and by the 1st century BCE, people were indulging in 7 days of revelry, which the poet Catullus enthusiastically referred to as the best of days. So, grab a free drink and a cocktail sausage from the feasting table, and let's join the party.
Today's party guests, then, we're welcoming back 3 tried and trusted members of the Sistory History crew. We have Seneca, 1st century CE, Stoic philosopher, statesman and playwright, tutor to the Emperor Nero, died in the bath. Martial, author of Epigrams, writing in the 1st century CE, born in Spain, moved to Rome in his 20s. And finally, Pliny the Younger, nephew of the elder Pliny, lawyer, magistrate and author, wrote a lot of letters, and he was also active in the 1st century CE, so they are all very contemporary with each other.
And good at a party.
Great at a party.
Apart from the fact that they're all a bit whingy.
Yeah.
Get a few drinks in them. Laura, as your sister, I know that you love this festive season this time of year. And we are actually recording very close to Christmas.
We are.
I can see you're very excited.
I am. And we're close to Saturnalia as well, of course.
Yo Saturnalia.
Yeah.
What are you most looking forward to?
About Christmas? Mm-hmm. The stuffing. I love it.
Okay. Anything else? Just...
Singing.
Okay, lovely.
Yeah.
Carols. Caroling.
Yeah, carols, karaoke, any variety of singing I can get my hands on.
To get us in the mood then, who do you have first?
Well, he won't get us in the mood, but I've got Seneca first.
Okay, to bring us all down then, who have you got first?
Seneca, writing a letter to his friend Lucilius, and he's talking about Saturnalia and bewailing all of the excitement and the changes in routine that are happening in the city.
He's such a misery.
So here we have Seneca, Letters 18, on festivals and fasting. If I had you with me, I should be glad to consult you and find out what you think should be done. Whether we ought to make no change in our daily routine, or whether, in order not to be out of sympathy with the ways of the public, we should dine in gayer fashion and doff the toga. As it is now, we Romans have changed our dress for the sake of pleasure and holiday making.
Well, I mean, that's not so moany.
No, that's true. Well, he is saying, do we really have to change our routine?
Do we have to?
Guys.
Okay.
Anyway, I want to talk about sight.
Okay.
And specifically, Seneca talks about doffing the toga and the fact that the Romans have changed their dress for the sake of pleasure and holiday making. Do you know what this refers to?
Are we talking party clothes?
We are talking party clothes.
Yes.
So usually Romans would wear the toga, quite formal, maybe a bit uncomfortable.
Roman citizens,
yeah. Yes. During Saturnalia, they wore their party outfits. These were called synthesis, usually colourful clothes. Usually they were more for private wear and not public. So my understanding is that they would wear them in their homes sometimes, in private residences. But in public, your citizen would be expected to wear the toga.
I see, okay. So not quite loungewear.
No. I think it's still quite formal.
But not the official outfit of a citizen.
Correct.
So I'm thinking sequins, Christmas party.
Christmas jumper.
Christmas jumper.
That's where my head went. Christmas jumper. Colourful, very seasonal, festive wear. It's quite obviously indicative of the festival. And it's unusual because the norm would be the citizens going about their daily business in the white togas and much more muted, I guess, visuals. Whereas for this festive season, you've got the bright colours, which is very nice.
Gloves off, isn't it?
Gloves off. What I'm not sure about though, is do the slave population, do the non-citizen population wear the synthesis as well?
I genuinely have no idea. I guess if you could afford this set of clothes, then you would wear it at Saturnalia time. But if you couldn't, I don't know.
Yeah, so it might actually be blurring the lines of status and hierarchy within society as well. So as well as indicating the festive period, it's also blurring those lines. And we know that Saturnalia did that, didn't it? It kind of blurred the norms. It was about role reversal and going against the grain and subverting things.
Yes, because Saturnalia is obviously a festival for Saturn, and it harkens back to this golden age, doesn't it? Everyone was equal. Equality ruled. On the equality point, at Trimalchio's dinner, Giton, who is posing as a slave, if you remember, laughs at one point, and one of the guests says, "Hang on, what's this? Is it December? Is it Saturnalia? How dare you?" It's not normal any other time of year to have slaves being on an equal pegging to everyone else.
And even being able to laugh if they found something funny. I mean, that's awful, isn't it? Marshall, who I know you're going to talk about later, he calls one chap rakish for wearing a toga during Saturnalia.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So if you wear a toga, then that's kind of frowned upon.
Yeah, definitely not the correct thing to be doing as an upstanding Roman citizen.
That makes it sound like the toga was a bit sexy.
Does it, do you think?
No, maybe not.
But, you know, horses for courses, go with it. So, Caroline, you've been to Rome recently. When you went there, did you imagine yourself back in ancient imperial Roman times?
Of course I did, at every waking second.
Yes. And did you imagine a sea of togas in front of you?
I did.
Thronging the Senate House and the Forum. And
Yes.
Now, can you now picture that at Saturnalia?
The colours.
The colours.
The noise, actually.
Probably no white. Are we assuming no white? Because if you wear white all the time, you're going to go for your
party outfit, aren't you? Yeah.
You're going to go for your reds and your blues and your greens. Purples, maybe not, unless you're imperial family.
Oh, you might risk it, though.
Maybe.
Maybe.
But I think that's quite beautiful, isn't it? If you imagine there's going to be a lot of movement of people around the city, around those common public areas, people getting together with family and friends, partying, and just this throng of colour everywhere. Do you know what
that reminds me of? The Floralia festival with the goddess Flora and all the colours.
Yes. That's a nice one. Nice link there.
Well, actually, Laura, that brings me really, really, really nicely onto my source, which is, of course, my boyfriend Marshall. I can't have a Christmas party without having my boyfriend there.
I mean, your husband may be slightly perturbed, but
he's going to pick me up later. This is Marshall Epigrams 14.1. At this time of year, while the knights and the lordly senators show off their party clothes, and even the emperor wears a freedman's cap, and while the slave is not afraid to look the magistrate in the eye and shake the dice box, though the icy ponds are frozen, accept the gift you are given, whether from a poor or a rich man. Let everyone give to their table companion gifts appropriate to his means.
Okay, so we've got an allusion to clothes there.
Can you think of the sense I'm going with?
I would have said sight, but I don't think it is.
It's touch. I'm going with
touch. Okay.
You've got the colourful clothing set, like we've already discussed. The synthesis, synonymous with formal dining, but also specifically the Saturnalia. More comfortable than the toga, which you've already said.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, because there's lots of dining going on during the Saturnalia.
Ah, okay. So you're going to be reclining for longer. You're going to want to be a bit more comfortable.
A bit more free. Maybe you don't have the girdle on round the middle, restricting your tummy. So imagine you can let your flab rolls. It comprises of a tunic with a matching wrap or scarf, or even a cape.
Cape! Sign me up for the cape.
Perhaps incorporated, or maybe detachable.
Ooh.
Right?
Yes.
I thought you'd like that.
A detachable festive cape.
Correct.
I believe I'll be wearing one to this year's Christmas lunch.
I can't wait to see that. So you're doing a lot of dining. You've got to lay down a lot because you're reclining to dine. Perhaps long enough, therefore, to cover you nicely.
Oh, I see. So you haven't got your feet poking out of the bottom.
Yeah, or other things.
Or other things, yes.
But like we said, more comfortable. So you would be feeling this outfit that you only wear on this special occasion. Marshall actually does make fun of a certain Zoilus who changes his synthesis 11 times during one dinner.
11 times?
He may have just changed his scarf. I feel like he just went outside and put a different scarf on.
Oh, maybe.
It's very much a set, though. An outfit set. Which I love.
But I'm kind of thinking of a twin set. sort of an era, isn't it? And
Yeah, you don't really see them anymore, do
No.
you? No. You've also got reference to the pileum, the hat, the freedman's cap.
the freedman's cap, yes. Do you know what the freedman's cap looked like?
I would like you to tell me.
I don't know if it's completely accurate, but the description I came across was conical, sort of flipped over a little bit at the top, so not a rigid cone, a soft cone, and the peak would flap over slightly.
Sounds like an ice cream.
Yeah, made of felt, often red.
Okay, festive. It's an elf hat.
So this is a very lovely image, isn't it? So you've got people in their colourful clothes wandering around in
Dressed as
elf
elves.
hats.
With a detachable cloak.
Yeah.
Take me back.
This is fashion at its best.
The pileum obviously represents equality at this time of year. We've said that's the theme. We've met the pileum before, haven't we, in the podcast at Trimalchio's dinner party. So it's traditionally part of the manumission ceremony. When a slave is freed, they wear a special hat. But then also, you rock it at the Saturnalia.
It's another visual indicator of status, the freed person's hat.
But at this time of year, everyone is the same status. So freed or not.
Oh, so slaves would wear them as well?
Everyone wears one.
Oh, I did not know that.
Everyone wears one. So it's the equaliser.
Even the ladies?
Everyone wears one.
Does the lady wear the synthesis, the party clothes?
Yes. Synthesis was actually, it started as a lady's tunic.
Oh, did it?
And then it kind of evolved into this. They changed the name of it to make it sound more masculine.
Oh, typical.
Imagine wearing a hat. I guess it's practical because at this time of year, it's a bit chilly.
True.
You'd have a hat on. But what I thought, which I really liked, everyone's wearing a hat. What does that sound like? Pull a cracker.
Yes.
Right?
Party hat.
Party hats. It's akin to the paper hats you wear from crackers.
Wow, do you think there's any link?
I have no idea, but there's so many similarities. There must be.
Yeah, there
Put
are
a
a
special
lot.
hat on.
Yes, there are so many similarities, aren't there? The candles are really prevalent. People are decorating their houses with garlands and wreaths,
Yeah.
which we still do for Christmas. Giving presents.
But if we come back to touch,
Sorry.
you know when you wear a hat, a specific paper crown, it feels a certain way.
It feels annoying.
It feels really annoying. You want to take it off after about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But it's that association, isn't it? You don't wear it any other time of year.
No, and actually you will put up with it. You will tolerate it because
It's
one
crystals.
must maintain the festive feeling.
And because I shout at you if you take it off.
Yeah.
So thinking about my source again, we've got gambling, we've got the shaking of the dice box, very tactile thing. Laws against gambling were enforced by magistrates. So in my extract, we had that really nice image of a slave shaking a dice box and looking the magistrate dead in the eye while he was doing it. You know, come at me. That you're partaking in an activity that's not normally allowed. And then there was mention of the icy ponds. Dunking in icy water is a form of punishment. Although this time of year the magistrates can't punish you because gambling's allowed, the Saturnalian king, or the Lord of Misrule, can decree that you are to be dunked in water.
Ah, because they can make any rule they like, can't they?
Yeah, and they like doling out kind of forfeits.
Yes.
Can you tell us a bit about him?
The Lord of Misrule, otherwise known as the King of Saturnalia, usually a household would nominate someone to hold this post for the duration of the festival. And it would typically be someone who was lower in the social hierarchy because they are elevated then to having this control or having this power over the household. As you say, being able to give out those forfeits, tell people stupid things that they have to do.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
Sing a song, do a silly dance.
yeah. So again, we're subverting the social order. We're disrupting it and turning it on its head. They did preside over the celebration for the whole duration. They gave out their orders. You had to follow those orders as well. You couldn't just ignore these forfeits.
Well, it's the king of Saturnalia.
You got to do it. They could insult guests. Really, their job was to rule over the chaos and the disorderliness of the festival.
So the party is approaching its end, Laura. I'm afraid you're going to have to introduce your final guest.
So, rounding off the party, I have Pliny the Younger. Pliny is writing a letter to his friend Gallus and is describing his villa at Laurentium in very thorough, typical Pliny detail. Some might say too thorough. So this is Pliny the Younger from his letters 2:17. There is an anteroom and then a chamber projected towards the sun, which the latter room catches immediately upon his rising, and retains his rays beyond midday, though they fall aslant upon it. When I betake myself into this room, I seem to be quite away, even from my villa, and I find it delightful to sit there, especially during the Saturnalia, when all the rest of the house rings with the merry riot and shouts of the festival makers. For then I do not interfere with their amusements, and they do not distract me from my studies.
Why have you picked two such miserable men? Neither of them want to come to the party.
Well, to be fair, I think Pliny isn't being miserable. He just doesn't want to join in. Perhaps he's acknowledging that he's being a little bit of a bore, so he's taken himself off to another section of the house.
He just doesn't want to hear it.
Yeah.
So are we talking about sound?
We are talking about sound. If we get over the very earnest and wholesome aspect of the whole extract, bless him, he's basically saying, well, you go and have all the fun. I'm just going to sit here with my papers. But the point is, Saturnalia is noisy. He talks about riot. He talks about the house ringing with the merry shouts of the festival makers. And he's actually having to take himself off to a completely different section. And there's other sources as well that specifically talk about noise, but in a very intense way. They describe it with quite forceful words like riot and din and clamouring. So it's really trying to get across not just that there was music and fun going on, but actually it was really quite intense.
Yeah, wow.
Because you've got the whole city partying, every house in every road partying along with each other.
For 7 days.
For 7 days.
Do you know what? Maybe I'll be with Pliny. You need a break every now and then, don't you?
I mean, a 7-day party.
Yeah.
Pliny describes it in quite a positive way. He's not putting a downer on it. He's talking about merrymaking. I think there's a slightly more positive spin than there was with the Seneca extract. But we can't get away from the fact that it's a boisterous affair, incessant, continuous. In Lucian's text, Saturnalia, he talks about frenzied clapping and singing naked. So this isn't just a party. We're knee deep in some sort of really intense stag do, I think.
Goodness me, it's winter.
I know. And actually, I'm quite worried about that because he lists it along with other just quite normal aspects, alongside feasting and drinking and playing dice, singing naked. Almost like it's standard activity.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. It does sound more stag do than Christmas lunch with your family.
Yeah.
But also frenzied clapping sounds very manic.
Frenzied.
People really were letting go, it would seem. Getting it all out.
Statius talks about the din of Saturnalia, noisy Syrians. Jingling Spaniards was my favourite. So I'm just imagining like bells, musical instruments.
Jingling Spaniards, yeah.
But yeah, so some really great descriptions that give you an excellent image and idea of the soundscape, but also just how many people were involved. As you say, it was an inclusive thing. It was about equality. You've got different nationalities. You've got all sorts going on.
Jingling Spaniards.
I had you at Jingling Spaniards. In Cato the Elder's book on agriculture, which is basically a guidebook on things to do with agriculture, running a farm and all those sorts of things. It's quite dry, I have to say.
Yeah, I'm not going to put it on my Christmas list.
No, I wouldn't. But in one part of that, he's talking about rations for his staff and how much you should allow per person. Practicalities, yeah? Cato the Elder is quite a sensible statesman, senator, conservative leaning, not debauched, not in any way dissolute. But in his treatise on agriculture, he is allowing his staff 12 litres of wine per person just for the Saturnalia festival.
Whoa.
Right? 12 litres of wine roughly translates into 48 large glasses of wine.
Over 7 days?
Over 7 days. So that's roughly 7 large glasses of wine a day.
Do you know what? That sounds about right.
Yeah. But for 7 days straight?
Yeah, probably not. You probably go really hard on the first.
Yeah, you might
day.
actually
You
use
don't
up.
have anything on the second.
Half your literage is gone. Yeah, then you have a few days off. But I suppose the point is, it goes to show this is very much supported by all of society. This is a well-to-do, well-heeled senator making sure that his staff have got enough booze to get them through that festival.
Here's to Cato.
To Cato. And the others.
Yeah, not the others.
Well done, chaps. We hope you enjoyed this bonus festive episode. Join us next time.